I act as the chairperson of that school. I request all of you to please be there and see what children are thinking of it. They're appealing to people to stop cutting down trees. They're appealing to people to stop cutting down the hills and the hillocks. They're appealing to people to not to destroy the water bodies, because it is the water bodies which have the plankton, and it is this plankton which supply 90% of the oxygen in the water. So if your water is brackish, there is no oxygen, where do you get the fish? You have a lot of water but no fish. So we have been scientifically reduced ourselves to a bunch of illiterate people, and as a result the flora and fauna are terribly endangered. And this is, I tell you, nobody else will destroy us. We ourselves will destroy our things through our wrong actions, through environment, and the loss of biodiversity. And why are vultures extinct? The vultures, which are called for the scavengers of nature, they're extinct today. There are a lot of species that are extinct. And don't think that the mankind, the human species, the Homo sapiens, can live on its own. There is a very fine, intricate relationship. 30 million life forms on this planet. And we scientists have discovered only 5 million. What is the role of the 25 other millions of plants and animals? We don't know. But if they are extinct, then we will have to pay a high price for this. And Bangladesh, like many countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, is home to many of these very valuable species of plants and animals. So this is something, again, that the point that I am trying to do is you can generate social consciousness. And once the social consciousness can be generated, if you can make the politician understand what they should do, if you can make the members of the public understand what they can do, you have done a lot. And finally, I want to say something about science education. As Sadi said in the beginning, it's in a mess. Why it's in a mess? Globally, we are talking of ICT, digital Bangladesh, absolutely needed, digital Bangladesh. But unless you have a culture of science, digital Bangladesh will not be materialized. Unless you have the landphones, unless you have the connectivity, unless you have electricity, unless you have education, unless you have computer literacy, how can this be generated? And this can be the science education, starting from the early stages of life, namely from schools, is a must. And what is the priority that is accorded to science education? There was an Education Equipment Development Bureau in this country. This was set up with the assistance of Asian Development Bank. And I do not understand why, when the previous government, they say, the finance minister said that, well, we will bring equipment from outside at lower cost. Let us abolish this. The ADB, Asian Development Bank, should have put its foot down and said, why did you in the first place take money from us and have this Education Development, Equipment Development Bureau? Oh no, all these are schools. Why should children go for science? They have no equipment. They have no equipment worth the name in the schools. And science is not just talking. Science is doing things, little things to show how nature works. So, and it is not very difficult to make them home. The government took a stake, but then some government, the past government, they abolished it. And that was, I think, a very foolish act. And one day they're going to do it again. And the President Ibrahim knows about it very well. He has been trying very hard over the last few years, as a decades, for a few decades, to generate consciousness, to write. I myself did a series on BTV under 2 titles. The Big and Vichitra and Notun Diganto. It ran on BTV for 12 years. And one of the greatest clientele group was women. So I asked some women, why are you so fond of my program? He said, because you try to explain things in simple parlance. And some of our grandchildren, they are coming up, and we don't have any background in science, we can't talk to them. So here people sitting before television, we understand what is going on. I didn't I didn't tell them the nitty-gritties of science, any craft. I just told them in very plain parlance what is the shape of things to come in the future, how science is going to affect our lives. Look, 30 years ago, there was no PC. Every one of us used to go under the bridge in the New Market and get things typed. The typewriter is now in the museum. Look how things have changed. You have the VIP, you have now you see in a day, in a few years' time, you will find your friend on the watch and will talk to him. So this is Aladdin's lamp. Somebody says that, well, bring my friend from Baghdad here. Said, you want to bring your friend from Baghdad? This is how. Oh, here's a friend from Baghdad. So the Aladdin's lamp has come back under the new guard for science and technology. We need it for agriculture. Our organic fertilizer are at stake. The groundwater is being depleted. There are a large number of problems which need careful attention of scientists and technologists. And it's not enough that we meet only once or twice a year in a room and discuss science journalism and the interaction between science and journalism. You need to, and I'm sure each one of you is highly competent, you need to embark on this as a project. The science journalism should be a mission by itself, and you should be constantly writing about areas in which government should need investments on science, and it would improve the living conditions of the people. So gentlemen, I could go on and on, but this is not the time to make speeches. It is the time to act now. Time is acting very fast. You might say, what are our resources? We have a lot of resources. If we are poor because it is a poverty of thoughts. But our resources, we have the best of lands. We have water, and that water is now being depleted. We have the manpower. The manpower can be utilized. What we need now, in this age of globalization, the raw material is not at all a problem. Look at the countries of the Asian tigers. Each one of them, they have a deficit of raw materials. But we call it an age of knowledge economy. In this age of knowledge economy, knowledge itself is the best raw material. What do is bring raw materials, add them, do value additions to them, and this value addition, this is knowledge economy. Do value additions and then sell them again. So we should not be, even if there are areas in high technology, we could employ people, bring the raw materials, do the value addition, send them back again. So there are a large number of areas, indigenous technology, jute for example. Why should we look to the West, to the world? We have a population of 150 million now. Maybe it has gone to 160 million now. So in a land of 160 million, well, 30 years ago, we Bangladeshis used to go to the market with a jute bag. What is wrong with that? The government appointed me as a chairman of a task force, and I asked some NGOs. They have produced very good knitwear, this the knit bags. They can carry 5 kg, 6 kg, 7 kg, cost only 1 taka. Why can't they flood the supermarkets of the world and also our markets with this, so that there is no polythene bags are used? And if you go to Gandhari and other places, you find the ponds are filled with this polythene bags. If there is a light pour, then there is a flood, because all the water tracks, they are filled with polythene bags. This is something that you have to address, my dear friends. And if you want us, I am ready from morn till evening, morn till night, to work with you. To work with at any time. We should work together. This is our country. We know our problems. We have to solve it. And if we can involve the younger generations in this nation-building task, the lack of raw materials is not a problem. What is important? Identify a few areas. They generate consciousness intensively amongst the members of the public. Ask the government to to respect the scientists a little bit more, to respect the press a little bit more, invest a little bit more on science, and then science can, as in other countries, be an instrument of change for our societies. So with those words, I think that I have given you my feelings about the role the printed and electronic media. The printed media is not accessible, is still to 50% of our people. They are still illiterate, 50%, after all the attempts that we have made. But the electronic media, if you speak, they at least understand. So the electronic media have a greater role to play, but as literacy improves, the printed media will also start keeping on the roles. Thank you very much indeed.
I will just call a few of the invited discussants, but I will request them